This is the story of Yoshi's Feast by Kimiko Kajikawa, illustrated by Yumi Kao. Long ago, in the city of Yedo, there lived a fan maker named Yoshi who loved broiled eels. Yoshi lived next door to Sabu, who broiled the most delicious-smelling eels in Yedo. But Sabu had few customers. His hibachi was difficult to find, for it was hidden away on a small street on the outskirts of the city. Every night, Yoshi watched his neighbor Sabu go to catch eels. Every day, Yoshi watched Sabu broil his eels and wait for customers. And every evening, Yoshi watched a disappointed Sabu eat all the leftover eels. The eel broiler should share leftovers with his neighbors, muttered Yoshi. The fan maker should buy eels from his neighbor, grumbled Sabu. But Yoshi loved the sounds of coins in his money box too much to buy Sabu's eels. Instead, he sat alone at mealtimes, eating his boiled rice and sniffing Sabu's broiled eels. Yoshi enjoyed with his nose what he would not pay to put in his mouth. Yoshi sniffed broiled eels for breakfast. He sniffed broiled eels for lunch. And he sniffed broiled eels for dinner. Day in and day out, Yoshi sniffed Sabu's broiled eels for all his meals. One day, Yoshi said to Sabu, "I'm glad you broil eels and not cheap, stinky fish like Sama. Your eels smell delicious." Sabu frowned. "When will you buy some?" "Never," Yoshi exclaimed, sniffing the air. "Because of your delicious-smelling eels, my money box grows heavier every day." "How so?" Sabu asked. "For me, smelling your expensive eels is as good as eating them. Now the only food I buy is rice." Yoshi grinned. "Because of your eels, I grow richer with every meal." Sabu stomped his foot. "Yoshi, you're the reason I am poor. If you had paid me for all the eels you've smelled, my money box would be heavy too." And with that, Sabu angrily wrote out a bill, and he presented it to Yoshi, saying, "Neighbor, you owe me for all the broiled eels you have smelled." Yoshi tapped his chin. "You are right, Sabu. Fair is fair. I will get my money box." Yoshi carried the heavy metal box over to Sabu and carefully counted the shining mass of gold kobans and silver ichibu and nibu. "Here's the amount you say I owe," Yoshi said, but instead of handing over the coins, he put them back inside the box. Then Yoshi lifted the box and shook it. Chin chin jar jar, chin jar jar, and the coins jingled. Yoshi swayed to the sound. Chin chin jara jara. He danced in the street. Chin jara jara. And he danced wildly around Sabu's hibachi. Chin chin jara jara, chin jara jara. A few people heard the jingling coins and gathered to watch. And they clapped and they cheered. And more people came until... "Stop!" Sabu yelled. "Give me my money!" Yoshi gently touched the eel broiler's bill with his fan, bowed low and said, "But neighbor, we are even now." "What?" cried Sabu. "Aren't you going to pay me?" "Well, I have paid you," Yoshi replied with a smile. "You have charged me for the smell of your eels, and I have paid you with the sound of my money." Sabu's face turned bright red. "Yoshi, you will pay for this." That evening, Yoshi waited for Sabu to catch his eels. But Sabu never left the house, and the next day, Yoshi was startled by a horrible smell. "Kusai!" Yoshi yelled and raced out of his house. But the smell was even worse outside. Thick smoke poured from Sabu's hibachi. What are you cooking, Sabu? Yoshi cried. The entire city stinks. Sama, Sabu grinned. Want some? Now Yoshi's face turned bright red. But Sama is the stinkiest fish in all of Japan. How dare you spoil my appetite? This time Sabu laughed. Neighbor, you get what you pay for. Yoshi ran inside his house and boarded up the shoji screens. He fanned and fanned the air, but the smell of the stinky fish remained. Yoshi sniffed stinky Sama for breakfast, and he sniffed stinky Sama for lunch, and he sniffed stinky Sama for dinner. Yoshi tried to eat his rice, but the stinky smells made his stomach spin. Then Yoshi had an idea. Holding his nose, Yoshi bowed to Sabu. Neighbor, I know we've had our differences, but I think we can work them out. How so? Sabu asked. Just cook some eels and then leave it to me and you will see, Yoshi answered. The next day, Yoshi put on his best kimono. Kabayaki, Yoshi shouted as he danced over to Sabu's hibachi. The smell of Sabu's sizzling eels invigorated Yoshi, and he slithered around Sabu's hibachi. Chin chin jara jara, chin jara jara. A crowd gathered and clapped in time to the jingling coins, and Yoshi winked and laughed as he danced. He spun around, his arms waving wildly like an electric eel himself. Chin jara jara. Faster and faster. Chin chin jara jara. Louder and louder. Chin jara jara. Chin all day long. Hungry people gathered to watch Yoshi's fiery dances and to buy Sabu's sizzling eels. When the day was over, Yoshi prepared his usual meal of boiled rice and green tea. As he sat down to eat, Sabu arrived with a big platter of broiled eels. Arigato, neighbor, arigato, for bringing me customers. Arigato, Yoshi replied, but I will accept your generous gift only if you join me for dinner. The two neighbors sat down to eat. Yoshi picked up an eel and took a big bite and smiled. I was wrong, he exclaimed. Sniffing broiled eels by myself is nowhere near as good as eating them with a friend. Every day after that, Yoshi danced for happy crowds around Sabu's hibachi, and every evening the two neighbors sat on Yoshi's porch laughing and enjoying Sabu's sizzling hot eels.